You're tired of working day in and day out, trying to find new boomer customers, chasing leads, doing whatever work comes your way, and never getting to earn what you're worth. You do it because you love the work and you're passionate about serving the boomers. We get it. What you need is more of the right boomer customers for your business and more income for you and your family so you can grow your company and help more people in your community. Well, you're in the right place because this is Booming Your Bottom Line.
Hi, and welcome to episode 47 of Booming Your Bottom Line. Today we have another owner's chat for you. Today's guest is Ronny Wiskin of ReliAble Independent Living Services, a barrier-free design and installation service in Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. For more than 25 years, Ronny has been committed to meeting his customers' evolving needs by offering tremendous value, service, and experience in the fields of accessible construction, renovation, and home improvements. He is the founder of ReliAble Independent Living Services and did that in 2003. Ronny, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, Aaron, Mark. Nice to be with you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Ronny's been featured on home modification and accessibility expert media outlets, including CTV News, Toronto Star, Globe and Mail, Canadian Woodworking, and Home Improvement Magazine, as well as Greater Toronto Area Construction Report, Vision TV, and a lot of publications that represent the disabled community. So, gosh, Ronny, just wanted to say thanks for being here and thanks for taking the time. And Mark, why don't you take it?
All right, well, Ronny, we're certainly glad to have you with us today, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And what we'd like to do today for our listeners that tune in every week here at BYBL is have you tell us your story, the story of your business. Now, we want you to share some insights and background so other business owners, across North America that are serving the boomers can be inspired, learn from you and all of us as we chat here today, and so that they can be encouraged in their pursuit of that small business dream to help boomers and their families in the years ahead. So if you're ready, we're just going to dive right in with my first question.
Absolutely ready. Thanks.
All right. So I would like for you to describe your small business for folks here today. What's your main services and or products?
Well, ReliAble Independent Living Services was started back in 2003 after an incident happened with my grandmother. At the time, she sold her home of 40 years, just about a year after my grandfather passed away. So she found herself in a two-story home that was difficult for her to manage, and just too many, I think, memories that that kept her feeling kind of lonely and uncomfortable. So she decided that it was time to move, and there was a new concept locally called Life Lease, which was put up by an internationally recognized geriatric care facility called Baycrest. And they built this independent living community for people that were looking to transition into more of a seniors-based community, yet still have ownership in a building, kind of a condominium in a controlled way. And so she was one of the first buyers of that concept, and very excited to be moving because there were going to be peers around and all kinds of activities going on to keep her very active. Now, after the move, within a period of about 2 years, we started noticing as a family that she'd become very, secluded, shut in. She didn't want family around, and she didn't want to be taking part in all the activities that were going on. So I think naturally, some of the family members were thinking, oh boy, this sounds like signs of dementia starting to form, because, you hear that when a person kind of isolates themselves, it could be signs of that disease. And that was really the first thought. Now, it took a little while for my grandmother to really speak out about what was really going on. And finally, she spoke with my mother and explained that the reason why she didn't want to be around anybody is because she felt really dirty. She hadn't showered or taken a bath in 2 years, and was just resorting to sponge bathing herself and not saying anything about it. So my mother came to me and said, Ronny, you've been renovating people's homes for quite a few years. Can you solve this problem that that your grandmother's having, and try and get her back in a situation where she can use that bath. We're going back a while. There wasn't nearly as much on the market back then as there is today. So I was basically researching the available products for the disabled market, thinking that maybe it was something to do with her body not being able to access that bathtub.
Right.
And what I found was just things that were very kind of institutional, for lack of a better word. Grab bars and bathtub cutouts that seemed to really make the place look less comfortable, less like a home. And that's not what she wanted. This was a brand new condo that was very, very nice and luxurious. So I started researching what could be done to create a new type of design for a shower, and worked on that, researching various products and systems that could basically convert an existing bathtub space into an accessible shower. And 6 months later, my business partner at the time and I, we tackled the reno in 4 days. She was still able to use her sink and toilet. It was just a one-bedroom apartment with one washroom, and it was hard for her to go somewhere else while the reno was taking place. So we basically isolated the work area to the shower and converted it in about 4 days to a completely wheelchair accessible shower for her to use. And I got to tell you, after finishing that project, it didn't take long for her to become active again. Family members let back in, invited in, volunteering at the Baycrest Library. Just such a 360. And, to me, that kind of hit me as, wow, as a renovator, what I do can actually help people in ways beyond making their homes comfortable and the dream that they're trying to achieve visually, and make homes more functional for people. And for me, that was a real first start. Fortunately, with my grandmother and being able to see the changes so drastic, kind of urged me and inspired me to continue on that journey of making people's homes more accessible. And I think, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I've already heard the story once. I interviewed Ronnie 4 years ago, and I'm still teary. I mean, so many entrepreneurs or people, are creating businesses from a lack, right? It's that you were looking for solutions and it wasn't there. And, it's just the story of this. Every time I use your story, by the way, your grandma's story, sometimes when I'm on stage speaking, just because of that social turnaround, I
think it's a common story. It really is a common story, and a lot of people they don't like to speak about it because it's too personal.
True, very
right?
true.
But I think many people that I encounter are having the same challenges, and the result is what I try to look for with every new client that I meet is to bring them to a point where they feel comfortable discussing what the issues are, so we can begin to find a solution.
Right. So, Ronnie, real quick, just to finish your story, I apologize I interrupted you, but so, there was the aha moment. Now, zoom forward. I mean, how do we get to a point where you're opening a, reliable living center with elevators and lifts and all that stuff?
Actually, Aaron, this is the first interview I'm doing since leaving the ReliAble Living Center.
And I knew that was true, and I figured we'd get there, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit of a touchy subject. The ReliAble Living Center was a joint venture that, I came into some people that really had passion towards educating the boomer market who don't have any type of disability present or any type of real vision that of their future is going to change. And it was really an organization that was set up to demonstrate what accessibility looks like in order to try and inspire this market to think more proactively.
Right.
Which is a great idea. I love the concept. And, you know, a 2-year plan. And, you know, at the end of it, I think I came to a realization myself that really the market works in a reactive way, unfortunately. And you know, people just are not, I think, for the most part, thinking that they need to plan so far into the future that they make their homes welcoming and accessible for them before that's needed.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and my previous, I guess, 12 years with ReliAble Independent Living Services was primarily working in the home medical sector with occupational therapists and people at rehabilitation hospitals, referral sources, all from within healthcare, reacting to a situation, a change in life.
Correct.
And that's kind of where, you know, that was my wheelhouse and referral base. And you know, don't want to let go of that, because to me that's what I really enjoy doing most is helping people that are in this type of a situation, whether it's an illness or an injury that changes the way that they do things. My focus has always been, well, now how do we make the environment more suitable so that person can function independently to the best of their ability after the incident occurs.
Mark, do you want to chime in then? You know, just from I know we're, you know, talking the language of the small business owner. So where do you want to take this?
Well, you know, I'd like to make 2 observations. One, Ronnie, you're absolutely right. You know, we're dealing with a group of consumers who don't want to be proactive. And that's something that, you know, Aaron and I have spoken to a lot in trying to help people change that languaging that they're using and speaking to these boomer consumers in a way that it resonates with them. So you haven't run up against anything that every other business owner is. And I totally get, you know, you taking a step back and refocusing on your passion. And that was actually my second point, which is doing the type of work that you're doing and being with the people that have such, you know, severe needs in their lives. I mean, that's a real calling. You know, that is what you're passionate about. And I just want to applaud you for doing that. You know, we run into a lot of business owners. We talk to them every day. And having people who are just out there doing the work that they think they can make money at, you know, that is not living a fulfilled life for yourself, much less being able to bring your absolute best into play when you're serving your customers. So, I mean, I think that just based off of what you're telling us, you know, you've really refocused so you can do the things that you're passionate about. And I really appreciate you sharing that story with us, because, I mean, we have lots of business owners that we talk to that face similar dilemmas, and I know that it's good for them to hear this. So with your business,
I'm glad that you bring that up, because it's really tough to create a new business in a market that you're just trying to understand. It's so complex. As you know, let's not focus on the seniors market. Let's just say the home health care market, where, you know, people are the trend is people are staying at home. There's less support from governments and insurance companies, and really more emphasis on getting families involved and looking after one another, which is a really nice way of going back in time in such a busy society. You know, the answers are pretty simple. You know, it's just getting people to work together in family units to do their part in terms of providing the right care. It's something that people want to do, I believe. It's just you're also dealing with a demographic, you know, elders who have been through depressions, they've fought wars, and they find these minor challenges and changes in life to be pretty insignificant compared to what they've gone through in the past.
Right.
So, very headstrong people, very strong-willed, and you try to get, the safety and care aspect into the mind, and it's tough to do that by showing them products. I think as a service provider in this area, Theodore Roosevelt said, I believe, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
So you've got to
in
make
terms
that
of
connection.
in terms of your business, let's talk about that for just a minute. What is your unique sales position? How are you different, and do you value compared to your competition?
Our focus is on solutions, providing solutions, not product focused, not real service focused. We do offer, yes, products and services, but really what makes us different is the fact that we want to focus our efforts on working with people on an individual basis and getting to know who they are and getting to know what their challenges are and helping them solve those challenges with the right solution. So, reliable independent living services, it's in the name really, is that we want to provide the right environments for people to remain independent and active, because it's that loss of independence that puts people into a bad state.
Right.
And
right.
it's not them that the focus should really be on. I think many people focus on them. You can't do this anymore. You can't do that anymore. You need this type of mobility device. You need that. Whereas, the way we approach things is that these are things that you like to do, that you want to do, and let's find a way for that to happen.
Right. Yeah, good point. And I think that, you're speaking our language in regard to languaging in the education and sales process with a solution-minded focus and a customer focus. So, Ronny, you have lots of lessons learned. For the sake of the listeners with us, what can you, what are your kind of nuggets or insights around reaching, connecting, and engaging with the boomer consumer, the adult, typically a daughter or, the caregiver, their spheres of influence, because they're a powerful group. What did you learn to do or even not do? I mean, share a failure, share, something where other people don't have to make the same mistakes we did to get where we are now.
I'll tell you, the biggest failure is not setting enough time aside to sit down and really get to know the person you're working with. I find, sometimes the day gets busy when you're juggling many files and many clients, and you want to get from one person to the next and keep yourself on time, on schedule. I find that doesn't work very well with every case, because some people require more attention than others.
Yeah.
So being very clear about, with the next person you're going to see, let's say, well, I've got a meeting, for instance, at 10 o'clock in the morning that could end at 11 or could end at 2.
Right.
I like to allow enough time for me to get to know who I'm working with and create a solution if possible during that first visit.
Right. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Communication is key. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the truth about taking the time and listening, and not just listening as in I hear you, but active listening where you're trying to pick up on those clues, seeing the underbelly while you're there visiting with that person, and to really get into the situation, that they're going through right then and there. I mean, that just can be placed. So I want to switch gears a little bit here. I know we talked about your grandmother, but let's talk about your company within the last, year or two. Tell us a success story. Someone that you've helped, something amazing that you've helped somebody do. You can leave out real names, but just give us a success story.
There are so many success stories. I said, what I look for at the end of every project is a person who says, "Hey, you know what? That was easy."
Yeah.
And after all of the, the contemplation and hesitation and making the right decision, when a person says at the end, "Well, that was easy," I love hearing that, because I don't like people to carry on after a project that the choice was a difficult one to make. Getting there may have been difficult because there's so many things to think about. But really focusing in again on what that person has as a goal, we can help them achieve that goal, and sort of provide the necessary resources, whether it's someone else in the industry who can jump in and help out in an area where we can't, whether it's additional physiotherapy or financial planning services. I think really, if I could just pull one out, I would say recently did a project for a woman who I met 6 years ago with cerebral palsy, very mobile. She uses canes, and she went through a long, I won't say a battle, but it was very difficult for her to get funding through the government funding agencies here, and finally she was able to have her barrier-free washroom built, and she doesn't use a wheelchair. And she said to me, "Wow, having a wheelchair-accessible washroom, even though I don't use a wheelchair, feels like I'm in a luxurious spa."
Oh, nice.
And she looks forward to using that space, whereas before she was thinking, "Oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? How do I climb over this tub? Am I going to fall?" Just a constant worry to go from a worried state to, a very happy state.
Right.
Using that space, I think was a great achievement.
Well, let me just say this, Aaron, before you get to the next question. Ronnie, what you said about a customer being able to close out a job with you and be able to say, "Wow, that was easy," that is absolute gold. Because I can tell you, and I know Aaron can attest to this, and I'm sure you could too, so many times when clients are dealing with a remodeling company, there is a lot of frustration involved. In many cases, there's missed timelines and deadlines, issues that pop up in the field, and for you to be able to do the type of work that you're doing in remodeling people's homes to make it easier for them to use them, and for them to be able to say, "Wow, that was easy," that speaks volumes about how you run your business.
You bet. Yeah, kudos to you. So, Ronnie, I know you've had a transition here, and I'm going to jump ahead and maybe just for time reasons combine a little bit of our next two questions. But so, where are you at now? Where are you going? What is the vision and the forward-looking future for you? And, what do you take from past experiences, and how does that make you better moving forward?
I think the idea behind the ReliAble Living Center, which was a 3,000 square foot showroom that was really done up nice, 17 different room scenarios showing state-of-the-art finishes and furnishings for people to try. I think that idea was a good one. I think that where we lacked in our healthcare system, I think in the U.S. there's been some success with that model, but in Canada, where we have so much government support for home health care, once a person is in that system and they're looking for ways to get back home and for that rehabilitate, they are working with home medical equipment suppliers, the HMEs, and the HMEs are more focusing in on the mobility and rehab piece through products,
right?
Who also have accessibility divisions built in, because really part of having supplying an electric wheelchair, let's say, to somebody through a government fund, is to ensure that power wheelchair can get in and out of the home.
Mm-hmm.
So the one-stop shop was really what I discovered along the way, what the home medical equipment suppliers were providing. And the Reliable Living Center, in order to compete for that business, had to get more equipment focused and become a one-stop shop. And I tried fearlessly to bring in partners that would sort of fill that gap and grow the business. And it just wasn't successful when dealing with too many people with different ideas.
Right.
So what I ended up deciding was that I would take Reliable Living or Reliable Independent Living Services into a home medical equipment environment, a company founded in 1990, formerly Risca Home Health. Now they're known by MedPlus, and they focus on mobility, rehabilitation, equipment, anything from all types of walkers, wheelchairs, canes, aids to daily living, right through rental equipment. So now Reliable Living and MedPlus together can offer that full-service one-stop shop that I've been trying to do under the Reliable Living umbrella solely. So I think it's too big of a project for one to handle, and I think we have to be open to partnerships and working together with others in the industry in order to find ways to better service our customers.
Very good.
Excellent point.
Well stated. And Mark, before you kind of wrap up with Ronny, to the listener, Ronny's ability, I mean, think about a showroom full of product and housing product and 3,000 square feet with elevators. So, obviously it's 2 stories. And you guys think about that from a brick and mortar perspective, and think about the kind of dollar numbers Ronny was probably working with. And yet being nimble is why we're on the phone with Ronny today. Okay. His ability to read and adjust and forecast and visualize where something's missed or it's off track or it needs to be adjusted. Brilliant. Just as an entrepreneur, I'd give you a hug if we weren't 3,000 miles away. It's just nice job. Nice job.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And a failure is really not a failure until you give up. And I got to tell you that neither myself or my former partners gave up. We have separate visions. The center still exists under a new name, Total Access Center.
Good.
So they continue on their journey, and I think in a more comfortable place for myself, working with more complex issues.
Good.
Well, listen, Ronny, you've been an awesome guest. We really appreciate hearing about your business and how things have progressed for you over the years, and we appreciate you taking the time to share that with all of our listeners and the advice that you've given and some of the hard knock stories. I mean, that's a real world view into what your business life has been like serving these boomer consumers. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing, educating a lot of people who are getting into this really exciting market.
Thanks for that. Absolutely. Well, hey, hope everyone enjoyed having Ronny on today. Ronny, if you got to go, I get that. Again, thank you. Obviously, one thing Ronny's done very well is networking. I did want to point out we created an ebook for you folks called Profitable Professional Networking for Your Boomer Service Business. It's straight from the training that we did a couple weeks back, and we cover the benefits of what it looks like when you build the right professional network, tips to finding the right people to work with, how to maximize the revenue they generate, and a lot more. So that's a great resource for you as you guys start to start a business or continue to expand your professional network. If you want to get your hands on that book, you can go to bybblive.com/network book.
All right. Well, everybody enjoyed this episode of Owner's Chat, and you're leaving a little more inspired today. Thanks for listening, And don't forget to go to bybblive.com/networkbook to get your copy of the professional networking book we put together. Until next time, be well, be bold, and boom your bottom line.